And welcome back to the Smoke Room. This is an extended episode of the Smoke Room, episode 18. Since I got last minute edition,
A
Josh,
new challenger appears.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Josh, aka Oshujax, welcome to the show again.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Again.
Again. Hopefully we won't go 30 hours this time. We'll go 31.
Yeah. We went a long time last time.
Your longest episode to date.
I know, right? But we're gonna start off. I'm gonna start off apparently with your league that you just came out with, IPW. What are your goals and ambitions for your league? Because people get confused. I see comments all the time. What about new-tna? What about new-tna? What about new-tna? What can you tell them people why you did what you did, and how do you feel about what's progressing so far in your league?
Well, honestly, the whole reason I started new-tna to begin with was because I actually wanted to make a counter-faction to WEDF. I wanted to have an answer to it because I felt at the time that I could probably get as big as WEDF and potentially surpass it and make a better league than WEDF. But then that kind of backfires once you start booking for the league you're trying to emulate. So it's just like, what's the point in doing this league anymore again? It's just like, you don't want to book because the goal you accomplished just got even better. Because it's like, as critical as I was of WEDF stuff, Frank just finally decided Josh is co-booker of WEDF. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you are a good booker. I was talking about that in a previous interview, but you are a good booker. You could, if you put your work into it, you could say yourself as average, but I could definitely say if you could ever get a tryout as a real announcer, you would blow up. And that's not kissing your ass or nothing. That's just the truth. So I just say it.
Well, the first thing I would need to do if I was really going to be taken even more legitimately about that is fix this damn Walmart mic of mine that I've got, where it doesn't matter how high or low I've got it. Apparently, I'm just still too loud to everybody.
You're always too loud. Look who you phone.
Well, that's true. And look who lives an hour above me and knows exactly what I'm talking about. And by the way, I did hear that second part. Loudon, I just want you to know I wasn't even trying to be loud, but you were pretty loud. I'm not going to take that away from you, but if I wanted to be really loud and just, like, have everybody in the whole neighborhood being like, what the fuck is going on here? I could.
Yeah, but overall, on your league, since you brought it out, IPW, what do you think of its progression so far with your tournament and everything else?
I really think compared to new-tna, I'm making better strides with it. You know, I'm having more fun with it, and of course, because I'm the only one commentating it, and I'm not actually involved in the product, of course, I just feel like everything is allowed to flow and progress better than it did with new-tna, because I felt weird booking myself in my own company, and then it's just after that, it's like you're still booking real talent, and you're still doing this, and you're still doing that, and of course, you're booking for WBDF, and you just actually don't have any interest doing new-tna, as you find out from bringing it back, doing it again, bringing it back, doing it again, bringing it back, killing it off. You know, you just find out one way or another you have more interest doing a league where you can just go any direction with about 20 guys who a couple people, maybe not everybody, has heard of, but I'm just surprised that IPW is going as well as it is right now, and just for an all-original league to really get about 400, 500 views a month, that's insane to me. I have Stage 3 after a week sitting on 200 views, and really, I just think that's very great for an all-original call league.
I think it's good because you treat all your superstars like they had the potential. You know what I mean? You ain't like, oh, this guy's a jobber, but even if they are a jobber, you'd be like, they put a little offense in, maybe a change of momentum when you're commentating. And I like that because you actually put, another side of things when you're commentating. You ain't like all on one side. You'd be like, oh, this guy's starting to show a lot of potential. And that's what I like about your league, because you ain't all biased about, regardless if it's somebody you don't like or not. You always there. You take that out the window and you speak like you're in character, basically.
Well, it's like Jim Ross even says on commentary in some of the games that you've even heard. He'll even say it. I think he even said it a few times when he was commentating with King. I call it like I see it. Doesn't matter if the crowd loves you or hates you. The commentator is supposed to highlight the positives of every single character. So what if a guy is arrogant? So what if he's getting booed for having a loud mouth and biting off more than he could chew? If he can back it up in the ring, good for him. If he can still put up a good showing, although he runs his mouth and runs off at the bit, you can still point out, well, maybe you should have kept your mouth shut. But even then, you still had to, this guy who beat you still had to bring the heat in order to really take the victory. And that's the point I wanted to go with IPW, is also because I want to focus a little more on wrestling with it too. It's just like, I don't really want anybody completely jobbing out unless it fits the situation, like it did with Dante Styles and Steven Santos, because you can tell the story of the arrogant rookie not knowing what the hell he's in for when he has a pissed-off, loose cannon, seasoned veteran staring him in the face, and just with his unpredictability, it's like, well, Dante, welcome to the business. Here's your beat down. Off to the back you go.
Hey, that's the way it goes sometimes when a rookie comes in and they start getting at it. Look, because Dante, from what the past few shows, is more of a cocky person than Loudon is. He's a little bit different.
He's what I like to think as the opposite of what Loudon Styles should be. While Loudon Styles is the calmer, more cool-headed kind of, I wouldn't say cocky, but I'd say more witty babyface. He's just like, okay, you can make as many jokes about me, but then he'll make one great point that'll piss off a heel and still be hilarious at the same time. Like, I know Loudon's been high on the line about, you're just sitting there writing yourself a little check, running your little bulldog mouth, writing a check that your puppy dog ass couldn't cash. I know he's big on lines like that. Like, he can just come up with some great lines that I've heard on his promos and stuff, and I'm just like, God, when I hear Loudon on the mic. It's ridiculous.
But it's
just
good.
How good he is.
It's good in a way because they have people who can do, like, it don't matter if it's a voice promo or a written promo that they did. It's good to have people in your league that can actually do stuff like that, because it makes it more of a different type of league, because in some leagues all they got is text-based and the writers do all the work. But it's good to actually hear from other superstars, what they actually really think.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the part where I was, again, going back to Dante about how he's the anti-Loudon in a way, where it's just like, Loudon's just all cool, he's calm, he's collected. Here's Dante Styles, a young gun standing out in the open, ready to take on the whole world like he's been through it all. And yet, as far as everybody knows, this is his first mainstream exposure in a big call fed such as IPW. It's a little small thing, and I think it still should be and be portrayed as such, but I mean, it's just, I can't deny the kind of strides IPW has made so far, and I'm very happy with the progress that's come from it. But still, it's just like, you see this little snot-nosed troublemaker stirring up things, and then you got Loudon going like, well, fuck. Because this is probably going to be some times where he's going to have to get little brother out of a jam, just like he's done in real life time and time again.
Yeah, it makes sense, and that's what makes it exciting, because it's fantasy called wrestling, but in reality, that adds a little truth to the story.
Yeah, there is too. Like even Loudon said before, he's got that little snot-nosed brother that he based Dante off of, and I'm just like, that's gonna make this whole thing going on with Dante and Loudon even better.
Yeah, I agree. And from what you got set up so far, from what I watched, it's set up pretty well.
Of course, that's a scene I think I wanted to talk about there, and I wanted the people to really connect with, because, like, okay, Santos absolutely murders Dante in the ring bell to bell. All right, Loudon's fine with that. You attack him after the match. Now Big Brother's going to have a problem. Because, of course, Big Brother doesn't know if Dante's all right. He runs out to go check on him. He's calling on him for help. It's a touching scene, because you also have to think, Loudon in the next 2 matches is going to be in the ring with a veteran like you, a young gun like Chris Core, and a sort of been there, done that, hadn't really done much, but still can put up a tough fight because he is tougher than nails, and he'll promise you that. Good old boy like Jimmy Spade.
Yeah, that's true. But altogether in IPW, you got a loaded roster. Anything can happen. That's just what I like about it, because anything, anytime can happen. One time, at one moment, somebody could be in a mid card, but you got a roster that's star packed. So somebody can go from the mid card and back into the main card in a hurt.
And that's the thing I kind of like to do with it as well, because, like, even if somebody's getting really somewhere bad, it's just like, well, you're still putting on these competitive matches, because I'm kind of like wanting to base it sort of like NJPW in a way, but still keep it in that American vein, if that makes sense. I don't want to say American Strong Style, or like Brent calls RSW an American answer to Puro Wrestling. I just want it to be based off what I generally like, which is Southern Wrestling.
Yeah. I completely feel that. But yeah, the main thing about your league and like other original colleagues, I ain't taking nothing off Loudon. Loudon does a good job. EDF does a good job. I think between you and what Loudon's doing and what EDF Evan is doing, and I think between y'all three, y'all do a great job on developing new guys and keeping the old guys and developing them also. So I feel that you play even playing field for the whole thing. Because there's always a bunch of drama. There's always people talking about, oh, you're not pushing my car right. You're not doing this. Oh, you only doing this because of politics and et cetera and et cetera. I can't be saying nothing negative towards it, because I did the same thing with CCL, but I had reason behind why I did that. But other people blow shit way out of proportion, thinking they're God or something, and that doesn't sit right with me, because you got to work your way up in order to get notoriety into it. It's like IPW. You got to build them people up in order for people to consider them. What is the word for it?
Credible, I guess.
Yeah. You can't just put them in the main event as nobody ever heard of without people bitching and be like, why the fuck did that guy get a push, And nobody, who the fuck is this guy? But I feel the way y'all going and everything else, I think y'all do a great job on your shows. Y'all work hard on them, and I appreciate it, because that's all about, to have fun. I always say that. We all have fun doing this, and I feel that we all have that certain chemistry together that I trust all of y'all, because I can feel like, no matter if I get pushed to the mid card or whatever, I can always trust that, y'all doing the right thing for me.
Well, of course, that's an honor for you to say that to me, Smokey. And I appreciate you feel that way about IPW and about everybody else's leagues. But back to your point about the fans saying, "Oh, you're not pushing this guy. Well, you're not pushing that guy." The way you handle that is just you got to just be like a coach on a team. You got to be a manager. You got to do what's right for your league. You got to do what's right for the long term of your league, regardless of what anybody else has to say about it, and that's all you can do. And that's really the way I feel that it should go, because as far as you're concerned, it's like if one person or if a small little group is saying one bad thing about a way you're pushing somebody, yet the majority is still saying, well, no, this is good, and then they like this and they like that. You gotta pay attention to the fans who criticize your product. I think it's just one iota of critique you do have to pay attention to, because it's just like, even if it's the one lone negative comment, it's just like something you might have to think about. But if it's something you personally disagree with, then it's just like, thank you, but I honestly disagree. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Everybody likes the way this is played out right now, so I'm just going to go with them, and I'm going to go by what's right for them, what's right for the league, and what's right for me.
Yeah. Some people though actually give good some people actually give good criticism, and it actually helps you. Is that true?
Well, that's true. That is true, because good or bad, it still helps you, because it's like, hey, you kind of messed up on this edit right here, or hey, you kind of made this match go a little too long, or hey, you should have ended it right here with this spot. You kind of, made this match go on too long. This match is too short. The commentary is too loud. The mixing is down. The quality's not that great. You just look at all the comments, and then you kind of think, okay, maybe you have a point about this, or it's just like, yeah, no. The difference is how you respond to the criticism. I think it is, and I know there's going to be people. That's the thing about Call. I think I notice about a lot of people. It's just that I think people just I think they take this too personally, and almost try to think this is like the actual wrestling business, and there's deals being made about this. I mean, come on, people. What are we, like? I'm 20 years old right now. When I started this, it was
About 16.
2007 is when I actually even saw anything related in Call. And about 08 and 09, 2010, I'm just little actively involved and not really doing anything until 2011, where I actually get a capture card. But still, it's like, it starts when you're 14 and you're watching SMF and you're watching ICCW. Never heard anything about any of these other leagues like URWL, and then, the whole drama happens and something Callful appears, and the Vivianverse is, started. It starts when you're young, and I think that's what happens. It's just that when you start young, you don't really know what you're doing because you're young, and you just feel like you want to have what leagues like SMF and No DQ and ICCW and all these other leagues had before. And now really it's just at a point where I think people have just grown past it. Like, because when Call was really big, it was when people were actually, united, and it was just like you said earlier, it's just they were doing their own thing. And now I think it's just people have taken it too much to heart about some of the critiques or some of the comments, and they've gone on these flame wars. Like I even saw it in the one of the SMF call searches, and I know a lot of people from Something Callful and other places will remember this. Finner 500, if anybody remembers that, had a call named Bruno, and I think, yes, and he took that thing way too seriously. Like, when he got bounced from that call search, I don't remember exactly how the story went, because, of course, this happened, of course, forgive me, like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So really about the time where I'm not even paying attention to much. But long story short, it's where they get the whole thing about call equals serious business. Because it's like you're blowing up over one man's decision to remove your call because he doesn't see it just as, a good caller to use or a good talent to go with, and he's especially harsh about it. And then it's just like, well, what do you do if you're taking it too seriously? Because, like, you're getting mad at a fictional character
Yeah.
on a fictional wrestling federation.
It's like basically when like me and Loudon and a bunch of other people do like promos for leagues on our channel, because we ain't got the shows don't really got time for it. So we do our promos and people actually think that's how we really are. We're playing a character in that type of situation. You know what I mean? So anything that I say in the whole, I even put on here promo for so and so league, and I be in total in character, and people be like, "Oh, you just say you really mean that?" I'm like, "No, because I'm in character. If I want to be real, I get in the freaking in front of the camera like I always have. Nobody has ever seen me not get on camera when I had a problem. If I had a problem, I would get on camera and say it. But when that's different between a camera video and a promo video because I'm not on camera unless I have a problem with my webcam. But there's been me and you had a lot of spats in the past over the past. I don't really know how many years, but we always find a way to work through that. Me and you had our problems, but we worked through that problem. It's a misconception. We both work things out. And that's the way it should be instead of holding grudges for years and years. It's better to work things out because the whole thing was stupid, in my opinion. And we both realized that. And, we worked things out, and that was that.
And that's another thing I think you point out there, like you said about holding grudges. I'm not trying to start anything when I say this, and don't take this personally at all, but I know exactly what you mean by when you say that, because if I remember well, one time in a New Legacy stream, Homer was in a call with, of course, Johnny and everybody else, and Arcan actually happened to be in the stream, and Arcan and Homer, I don't want to go into how their whole thing started because the whole history to me, of course, is fuzzy, and I don't really remember how everything started. Somebody will just say, "No, you're wrong. That's not how it went." That's how I usually am anyway. I'm not. My long-term memory is not really the best thing unless it just directly happens to me, because then I'll remember it if it happens to me. Yeah. But what basically happened is Johnny, I think, if I remember well, when Arcan was in the chat, he's like, "Hey, why don't you and Arcan, just apologize, move on with whatever grudges you got against each other, and you don't have to be buddies, but just go ahead and squash it." Arcan's like, "Okay, I'm fine with that, whatever," because he got over it. He just doesn't care at this point where he is. But then Homer, out of nowhere, is just like, "No, fuck him. I don't want to forgive him. Fuck him." And I'm just like, I'm okay with Homer. I respect Homer. I like Homer. Can be a funny dude sometimes, but it's just, you're really going to get mad over something so little. You know what I mean? I don't have a problem with Homer about that, and, he can feel whatever way he's entitled to feel, and I think that's just the respect between the two of us, that we're entitled to feel how we feel, and I know Homer feels like, if I ever have a problem with somebody, I should confront them. Except the thing is, number one, I'm not the confrontational type guy. Number two, I'm just afraid to actually tell anybody how I feel about them, because it's just like, I'm either going to get myself in more hot water than I want to, or whatever I say to anybody is just going to be blown off like nothing ever happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's just the way it was. I just feel like, just as the outsider looking in, it's just like, this has been as old as how many years? Like 3 years going on right now, and you're still mad at him over that? 3 years over a little scuffle on the internet.
Exactly. That's what I don't understand. People are holding grudges. I ain't got no problem home with myself. Me and him worked out our problems. And I personally don't got no problems with him anymore after all that junk that went on. Because me and you was having problems at that time with myself. And we all had problems, but we all worked it out. And bygones was bygones. You know, I like to look at the present rather than the past. Because the past has been fucked up. We both been around for a long time. We both. I like to say this right now. I'm sorry, Josh, but I want to say, just in case he is dead, rest in peace, SMF Attitude. You're my homeboy.
I hope he's not.
I hope
That
he's
would
not
be the
either.
worst.
Yeah, but
anyway, just still though, you said it best. You just focus on the present and the future. Really, I think these kinds of things, like these kinds of scuffles, will happen from time to time, and there will be times where people let their emotions cloud their judgment and just act from their heart and not really think about what's going on. Hell, I even did it when Loudon and you were in that little rant that we made against Frank Dog, and you know how well that went. It happens from time to time, but the thing is just that I think what really makes the difference is when you're part of the solution, not part of the problem. Because these things happen, but what matters is solving the conflict and not letting it affect you, because let's be honest, life is too short to spend grudging over one little thing, one little insignificant thing that is irrelevant to the way you live your regular life off the internet.
of course. Shit, we all go through problems. We all human. We have personal issues and everything else. We all come on here as a hobby. This is fun for us. And for somebody to try to... The thing I feel about, the thing that makes me snap a little bit is people trying to ruin my hobby. And I think... I've been around for a long time. You have too. Loud has too. And when somebody tries to ruin my fun and disrespects me, that just not only disrespects me, that disrespects my work, that disrespects everybody that I'm friends with. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why I am who I am, but I can't let nobody downgrade my friends, or it don't matter if I don't like you or not. If I feel that what you're saying is wrong, I will speak out about it. And I feel the same way that you would do the same thing if you were tempted in that situation. Because you're from where I'm from. We've got the same hot blood temper.
And when it happens, I might not even tell it. I might not even spill it out in the public, because I'm just not that kind of guy for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just really whether I just got coward's instinct or whatever, but I know somebody is going to be hearing everything I got to say, and they're going to sit right there, and I'm just going to be like, look, this is how I feel. You're going to listen to this. I need to vent to somebody, damn it.
Yeah. That's the way I always been. And you being an hour away from me is kind of surprising, because we are actually two different people.
Yeah.
We don't got nothing besides being in Alabama. Me and you are completely two different people, but we still get along though. But but that's besides the point. It's just the whole thing was, this whole situation with Carl is supposed to be fun, and people make it into like a contest. Who's better? Who's who's gonna be on top? Who's gonna be like this? And it's all like a battle. You know, you got a battle to get the way you are. But I feel as long as you promote yourself right, you don't have to worry about all that. You don't have to kiss no ass. You don't do that. I don't believe in kissing ass personally. I get accused of that, but I never kissed anybody's ass to get where I am, and you never kiss ass to get where you are. You worked your way up. You promoted yourself. Good. And everybody else, there's some people I ain't gonna name. I ain't gonna name their names because I really don't feel like getting in real controversial. Even though the last couple interviews I just did, it will probably bring a lot of heat towards me. But I'm doing my job. I'm an interviewer. And regardless if you hate me or love me, hate Loudon, hate you, it don't matter. We still got our fans. That's the way I always felt. You know, as long as my fans can stick by me, that it don't matter. You know, you can always build yourself back up to the people who thought you was that way, and they'll come back. Eventually they'll all come back.
Yeah, that's exactly the way you put it. You just keep on keeping on. You know, you're going to have every bump on the road. There's ups and downs. You're never going to live a perfect life. And if you think everything should go right in life, then you're probably somebody who has a camcorder or just got a capture card, and they just started booking themselves in their own league and started putting themselves on top like they're supposed to be perfect when you're just a statistic compared to everybody else, where the whole, you know, attention in the call community is, if that makes sense. You're the small fish in the big ocean, and you think you're this important, and yet you haven't let the people get attached to you. You haven't done anything to merit attention from anybody, and the only kind of attention you're going to get is mockery with the way you're going. But I mean, even then, I just feel, I don't even know what I was going to say now. Oh boy.
But it's all about how you present yourself.
I know what I was going to say now. I don't think treating call as a contest, sort of, is a bad thing. I really think competition breeds the best out of everybody. It's like it goes in the old business strategy. The more competition it is, the better products improve. The more you see really people just step up to the plate, because it's like, I get jealous when I see well-produced leagues like EDF. Like, I don't know if the booking is solid. I haven't seen enough of EDF to judge it. But I'm sitting here, I'm looking at the presentation for it, and I'm just like, God damn it. Because I mean, it's ridiculous how EDF is. I mean, HD quality, great sound, great commentary. He's got ring announcing. He's got crowd cuts decently down. I mean, it's ridiculous. And URWL, too. I mean, hell, most of the ideas I thought were great, I didn't even know URWL innovated them. And that's where I'm just like, shit. Because you see these leagues that have great production, even though, you know, they might not have the 5-star quality match that you can get really invested to with psychology for one reason or another, and that's just your taste. But I mean, it's just, you can see how these leagues are using the tools they have, like Highlight Reel and Adobe Premiere and these good professional mics and great HD capture cards, and it's just the way they present their product that makes everything pop a lot better. I get jealous when I see stuff like that, because I'm just like, now why don't I think to do something like that? Because really creating a great call product takes time. Takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time and effort. And I would say to those people who are still aspiring to start a call league, if you have a lot of patience and really want to create a top-notch product, yeah, it's going to cost you a lot of money to do it, but go ahead and get the HD capture card. Go ahead and get the good professional microphone. Go ahead, maybe even get yourself a new desktop so you can have a computer that'll handle all the rendering and all the editing and all the mixing you're going to have to do to really make your product just stand out and pop to everybody that watches your show. But I mean, it's just, yeah, it takes a lot of time, and I know some people are just happy, like I am, just doing the bare bones, but thinking, you can create an aesthetic, be like ECW, and create an aesthetic that's going to stand out from these well-produced colleagues. Think you can sell yourself well enough on commentary and sell your matches well enough and do the bare basics of production and really have a top 5 product, but still, it's just competition, of course. That's my point. Just competition breeds the best out of all of us, and it will inspire us to do something different and stand out in our own special way. I just think it's when the people start taking it too seriously and treating it like it's a legitimate business where it's life or death, and you're trying to make the most money, and really, I just think people trying to make money off a copyrighted video game is ridiculous anyway. Way to need them.
I was about to say something.
But, I mean, still, I just think people who are really doing this, if you're going to do a created wrestling league, make sure you create a product that is not only going to have people watching and wowing the audience with whatever aesthetic you choose, whether it be great matches or great production with decent matches or great commentary that will make any average match pop, or just subtle little basic production, but yet clever ideas that you can use even with the tools you have just to make everything stand out even better than it already is. I mean, have fun with it, but also create something that inspires people to create the best product that they can create.
I completely agree. Moving on to the next question, back to your league, what do you think separates your league from other leagues? I know it's based, some other leagues got original calls like EDF and a bunch of other leagues. What do you think could separate your league from other leagues?
Well, other than the fact that I think, of course, like you said, it's an all-original call league, and there's very few all-original call leagues that actually go on to be successes. And the reason being for that is because, really, I think, like I said before, some people just get offended with the treatment of their own cause, and I should know about it, because even with DCO, I still wasn't happy with everything that was going on, because I didn't understand at the time that if anybody is losing like they are on a serious losing streak, it may be a part of a storyline. So you might want to sit, you might want to wait it out. Because, again, back then, I was still thinking I was the hot shit. I was like, look at my guy. Look at this motherfucker. He is so strong, he is so fast, he is so smart, he is better looking than every single one of you. And he should be
whoa.
Oh. I knew you would have.
No. I was the sexiest motherfucker on there. No.
See, I knew you would say something about that. I knew you would probably be the only one I know who would legit be like, now hold the fuck up when I said something like that. But I was back then. Back then, of course, I was young, and I was younger, and I was dumb, and it's just like, well, this guy's not going to last long. And, of course, like, the whole problem with DCO, really, that looking back now, is just that they didn't have an unbiased booker. They didn't have somebody who was just going to be a coach who was just going to manage the product and do what's right regardless of if it may be quote-unquote wrong or not, because they're going to make moves that will they should make moves that will guarantee their survival and guarantee that they will have a quality product. Because, like I said, DCO was probably booked by different people, and Frank had different people in his ear telling him what's right, what's wrong, what's this, what's that. I think that's what the thing is when it comes to that. And that led to the end of DCO, because I think Frank finally realized it was all bullshit to deal with how many egos he had.
Yeah.
At the time. And I'll admit that's like my dirty laundry right there, though, that I just really don't want to admit, because, yeah, I get like that at times, but at least now I'd like to think I'm not anywhere nearly as bad as I used to be.
Yeah.
When it comes to that.
You grew up
yeah.
and you realized. You realize like I realized, like on a few years ago when I did all them videos. I still agree to a certain point on what I said on some of the rant videos, but I do realize that I did, I didn't give, I still don't give a fuck, but back then I really, 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 really didn't give a fuck. And that was a dangerous combination. It really was, because I would attack Frank Dog, I would attack anybody. If I heard anything about anybody talking shit about me, I'll put a video at that same exact moment and be like, I call you out. And I'm still the same way, but in a more calmer, I can be calm about it. Except for that last interview, but we ain't gonna talk about that. We done talked about that. But I just appreciate I appreciate you and everybody else. We worked out our differences. We realized, that was all just then. It happened then, and we worked our way through it. We became friends again, and I appreciate you. I appreciate you hearing my point of view about every single thing, cause I believe you have a great talent, and I'm saying that, and I don't say that to many people that I like, but when I say it, I actually mean it. But I just want to appreciate you coming on. But I want to appreciate you for coming on the show. Is there anything else you want to say, or anything else?
I was about to actually answer your question too, because I know I left that little hanging out. What do I really think is going to make IPW stand out from the other leagues? That is a hard question to answer, because it's just like now at the point where I've actually moved on to the Rant Board Network and seen what those guys are popping out. I'm just like, well, how am I going to stand out here when I've got all these leagues with their nice little fancy bells and whistles, and here I am using bare bone? I guess the only way I can think about it is just kind of do like Patch did with NESE. NESE never had really top-notch production, but you know what it delivered? Quality matches. It delivered quality matches that had everybody talking one way or another. I think really some of the work Patch was putting out on Day of Reckoning, of course, as that engine is really great for wrestling. But I just look at that and I'm thinking, that's the league I kind of want to be like. Because here I am, I'm just like, I'm a wrestling fan as is, and I want my show to be about wrestling as much as possible. I want to have events where I might not have the slickest production. Yeah, my microphone might not be the greatest. Yeah, I don't have the professional mic and the HD capture card, but I am looking to get that, but still. Anyway, I might not have that, but you know what I do have? I do have a reputation for being one of the greatest commentators in call history. Some people compare me to Jim Ross, and I'm honored that people would think that highly of me. And I have a potential with a little backing from some of the matches I've seen from just everywhere and my own knowledge, I have the potential to just plot out a match and hopefully get something going. I want to create a product that might not wow you with how it looks, but I want to stand out with characters and matches and commentary. If those three things are at the best they can be, there is nothing wrong I can do with IPW.
Yeah, and that leads to my next question. When do you think I seen your little promo for the next show. Any idea when that will be released, or are you still working on it?
I'm tentatively going for next week, and I'm going for a 1-2 punch. I want to get everything recorded for both nights, get them all commentated, and whenever I actually finish them, night 1, first night, night 2, right after.
That's cool, because I'm actually happy that you actually got back rejuvenated. And you work hard on your shows, and you do a great job at commentary. And coming from me to you, I appreciate all the hard work you put into it.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I'm glad you like it so far. And I'm glad a lot of people have liked it too, because I've realized I had like 1,100 subs, like somewhere near 1,100, or I don't know, maybe even close to it with like 1,090 some. I don't even know. I'm back up to 1,211 as of, well, the last time I checked. So I'm glad that my subs are going up, because I realize IPW is getting on the map.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Moving on to a more serious subject. I'm not for sure if you. I think you said you gave me okay before this, but the whole Loudon situation with Danny, and how do you feel about how Danny going about it?
How do I feel Danny's going about it? I mean, look, I don't fault Danny for acting the way he did. Because I understand where he's coming from, you know. I understand blowing up over your son. That is actually a very personal subject. And I remember being in a chat with Loudon, or in a call with him, and he was talking about it. And I was like, if you're really going to bring that up about him, I wouldn't. Because, one, you don't know what kind of reaction you're going to get, and two, I don't think you need to go that far. But I know I have people saying, according to Frank Dog anyway, he apparently says people are saying, you know, Loudon's hiding behind me, as if I'm telling Loudon to do everything, and I'm the big mastermind behind this. Loudon Styles has a mind of his own, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not influencing him to do anything. I'm not telling him to do what's right and what's wrong. I'm just the outsider looking in who just happens to have all the info about what's going down.
Yeah.
But
you're
not
trying to jump in or nothing.
Right. I'm not trying to start anything with anybody, because I still have a respect for Danny, and I still have a respect for Loudon. That's how I feel it's going to be. Now, do I feel Loudon should have said anything about Danny's kid and his baby mama? No, but I understand why he did it, because Loudon honestly doesn't care. And really, I think personally to me, and I'm not trying to start anything with Danny, but really, if you were going to take it that seriously about your son, if anybody ever brought him up, why would you ever announce it to a public forum that you have a kid, you're a father? You know, why would you ever announce it? Because that's like H.A. Duke about, you know, anybody saying anything about his daughter. He blew up when apparently, according to a chat, you know, I think you know about this because you heard about it probably, because you were probably still on good terms with him at the time for, you know, y'all two started arguing over something. I know he blew up when apparently somebody, apparently, you know, somebody said, fuck your daughter, and you know how he took that.
Yeah.
And that's just something you don't play with. And that's really, I think, if you're going to bring up family like that, that's a touchy subject that I don't think you need to be bringing onto the internet. knowing that there's going to be that one guy who's going to bring it up in a negative way, and here you are looking at a computer screen getting mad over it. And I understand why. I totally understand. But, you know, I just feel like you shouldn't have posted that information to begin with, and on the other side of the stick, you should have never said anything about it. I'm getting at both of them just as they are. You know, yeah. I told Loudon he shouldn't have said it, but I understand why he did it. Yeah, it is what it is. I understand why he did it. I understand why this side's pissed off. I understand even why Loudon got pissed off. Because Loudon saw somebody say something about his mama. Yeah. And I don't want this to sound like, I'm not wanting to make him out to be like Homer in a way, because what I'm going to tell you, I'm going to say it like this, like Homer said to Loudon when they had their little tiff. Loudon doesn't know Danny. Loudon has beef with Danny. Loudon doesn't like Danny. Danny doesn't like Loudon. Loudon sees Danny talk about his mama. Loudon turns the heat up. Danny can't take it. I mean, and if they want to say, you know, well, that's like Homer when Loudon was talking about Matt Eichhorn and saying he was like Samoa Joe. That's where I say there's a big difference between getting mad over a call, a fantasy wrestler who in no way, shape, or form is actually meant to be 100% down to a T just like you, or actually is you in real life, and getting mad over somebody saying something about a family member. Because I know what it's like when people talk about family. That's a line you don't cross.
About mother or anything, and that makes that in your mind with other people, you're gonna be like the other people's mindset is that, okay, you're gonna talk about my mama, so I'm gonna reply this way. You know, it's a mindset thing. If you're gonna attack my mama, I'm gonna attack you for what you said about me. Some people got that mindset. It's like, I got a short temper. You know that, Josh. You got the same short temper because we from Alabama. We grew up on family values. And if somebody fucks up with one of my, it don't matter if it's my friends or it's my family. If you talk shit about my family, I don't care who you are. I'm gonna retaliate in some fucking way, and that's just the way it is. And if you can't take it after you talk shit and you run away, and that just proves that you can't take the insults back, in my point of view. Because I feel like it's over the line. We're on the internet, and we've created alter egos for ourselves. That's the reason I've been called Smokey since I was young. And people don't actually understand that. But you all know my real name. It ain't no secret. But people call me Smokey since... Yeah, exactly. But people call me Smokey since I was young. So that's the reason why I go by Smokey. And I will always go by Smokey the entire time I'm on here. I don't care what kind of ideas people get. I would never go away from Smokey.
Absolutely. I feel you on that one, man. And I definitely agree with you there. I mean, the only people who really know that I'm Oshujax are just my friends. That's it. My friends, they'll be like, Oshujax, like trying to be like that, and I'm just like, dude, that's not how you say it, but thanks. At least you pay attention to my internet escapades. But still, I mean, I'm still not trying to start anything with anybody because I love Danny. I love Loudon. They're both my friends. I feel like Danny does think about that. He's just like, I know Danny's actually a little heartbroken. He's actually a little heartbroken with how everything is turning out with people he considered his friends on something awful. I know he's heartbroken over it. But
if he's heartbroken about it, he should just face up to it. in my opinion, he should just face up to it, and then maybe everything will calm down. But until he comes out and be like, okay, some things were oversaid. I ain't doing this. I didn't do that last interview with him to be mean to him. I gave him a public forum, and I ain't got no problem with nobody who's in an interview, but it was just, it was supposed to be me and Danny talking about it, and he brought all them people in there, and that was, in my mind, that was over the line because I was expecting just me and him, and we were going to have a casual conversation, get his side of the story, and he just blew it way out of proportion and made it into something much worse. And you know how short of a temper I got, and I said that plenty of times, but once you start disrespecting people, I had to step in and say something, just like a lot of people. We all have that in our blood. If you say something, we're going to say something back. We ain't going to just sit back and just let them just continue to talk that junk without saying something. And what upset me was he ended the call before the interview was over with. He couldn't finish it. Personally, me and Danny would never get along, and I believe that to the fullest. Me and Danny would never get along, but I always felt like, we could always talk for a few minutes, not more than 5 minutes. We all right. But I ain't got no problem with Danny. No matter the heat we go through, me and him don't get along. I understand that, but I don't hate him. That's not in my heart. I don't hate nobody. We might have spats and everything else, like me and you, and me and Loudon probably could get some spats, but we all friends on here. We all stick together. This is just a hobby. We having fun, doing what we do here. Because if we didn't have this, let me change that. If I didn't have this, I would have been in Florida selling drugs, and I'd probably either been dead or in jail. So I consider this my safe haven. My safe haven to have fun and speak my mind. And, that's the way I've always been. I always consider this as the way to speak my mind and be heard. Because some places you can't do that. But I feel, I feel, I take a lot of samples from Tupac when he said, I'm a huge Tupac fan. But I feel I take a bunch of samples from what he said, that if you don't say what's on your mind, then it's not going to be heard. So it's better to speak from your mind than not say anything at all.
That's right. That's how it is. And really, though, I just feel like if people are really going to use the word hate over the internet, I think that's where you need to reevaluate your priorities. I'm not trying to hate on anybody who is attached to the internet. But here's the thing about it. Most people use the internet as an escape from reality. The internet is a place where it doesn't matter if you're just this misfit, no-life kid who's not really doing anything with his life, just going day by day and still really confused about what he's going to do in life because he doesn't really know and doesn't really have an answer and hasn't really figured it out. But here he is on the internet, and he can be whatever he wants to be. He can be a leader. He can be a follower. He can make his own impact on the internet community.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Because the internet is the one place where you can meet tons of different strangers from various different parts of the country and the world, and you can feel like you belong. You know why? It's because, really, you're either going to be just like them, or you're going to be searching for a place that's going to accept you no matter what type of person you really are in life. Like Smokey, like you even said it. If you and I ever met in real life, or even saw each other, and not even knew each other before the internet, we're probably on the different end of the spectrum, because really, everybody sees the big southern drawl in Smokey. He's a country boy through and through. And he's got a little urban to him, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say Smokey is backwoods or a hillbilly. I wouldn't say, he'd be the guy I see on the side of the street wearing fishing hat with a fish hook on the bill, Guy Harvey shirt with a little dip in his mouth and a Coca-Cola bottle in his hand and talking like this because he's got that big old southern drawl. I wouldn't say Smokey would be that guy. I think Smokey would kind of be more like a mixture of the guys I actually see at work. I actually think he'd be like, I judge this based off gas stations now because, of course, I'm a gas station cashier in real life. And I judge it based off this. I'm like, if I saw Smokey in real life and knew how he acted, he would be that guy who'd probably be up to me and ask me for Swisher Sweets or Newport Hundreds in a box.
Yeah, yeah.
Or both.
Hell yeah. Both. More likely. Or they got these new cigars out. They cigar wraps. You ain't got to worry about tobacco or nothing. You can just roll it up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
some people still do that. They still get cigarillos, dump out the tobacco, put the weed in, re-roll it up, drive off. They do it right in the parking lot sometimes too, and I don't even get why they do that. It's just like, I know what you got it for. Do you really have to do it on camera when there's like a camera about 30 feet away from you? And it's not to see in the car, but I mean, it's just obvious. You're out in the public doing that.
Yeah. I used to be stupid back in the day, though, to be honest with you. I would freaking smoke out my car, ride to the middle of Pensacola in a traffic jam. I'm talking about a traffic jam, cops passes and everything. I didn't give a fuck. Back then, I really didn't give a fuck when I was younger. I did not. I would smoke with 15 pounds in the back of my car with a kilo in the back and be jamming out with my music. That was my secret, my music. If I had my music, I was straight. But that's another story for another day.
Still,
that's for real. That's true story.
I know it. I would imagine it is, because if you said smoke weed every day, Smokey would be like, hell yeah.
Sometimes
Smokey would be that guy.
I don't got no weed tonight. I ain't got no weed tonight, to be a matter of fact.
But if Smokey could, he would. He is that guy.
I will tomorrow.
But
yeah, Josh, we don't need to be carried on this interview for like 2 hours. So anything you want to add, anybody you want to promote, etc.
I want to promote EDF. I want to promote Battle Pro. I really wish I would have mentioned Battle Pro. I hate that I mentioned it so late, but of course I commentated Something Must Die. That was my first actual event of Loudon's that I watched in full, in witness, other than, one part of the King's Road tournament. And I liked it, and I really think people should give Battle Pro a chance. It's got a weird feel to it, and I think it's going to be like TCW Asterisk in the early stages where people are going to have to attach to Loudon's calls before they ever know it. But it's got a really good feel to it. It's got some nice stuff, and I think everybody should take a chance on Battle Pro. And Rising Star Wrestling, Brent, you slut. Hurry up with the first show of it already. We've waited for years.
Years and years. But yeah, Josh, I appreciate you coming on my show again. We've done this like 2 times, not more than Loudon has, but you came on my show and you've been respectful to me and everybody else. I greatly appreciate it.
I will never be the Iron Man of the smoke room. That honor belongs to the youngest, loudest, blackest man in call today. But I would love to be a faux hawk. I would love to be considered a regular, though, if anything, because of course, if I ever feel like I want to promote something or I just want to talk about something, talk to this young gun right here, this ugly son of a bitch hosted the show who needs to shut up.
Bullshit. But unprofessional or not, we all have fun. Unprofessional or not, we all have fun on the smoker room.
I'm just fucking with you, Smokey. You already know that.
I know I wasn't talking about you. I was just talking about something else. But unprofessional or not, we all have fun on the smoke room. We all come on here and we talk our minds. And I appreciate everybody that comes on here. Everybody in the past that has came on here, and I appreciate y'all's support. And as long as I get support, I continue doing this. And we will probably do 1 million more with y'all. So stay tuned for that. But until next time, this is Smokey, and this is Josh, a.k.a. Oshujax. Stay tuned for IPW and Battle Pro and EDL and a bunch of other leagues. I can't